Joyce Polino Crane, here today with our new town moderator, Angela Harkness. Hi, Angela.
Hi, Joyce.
We're going to talk today a little bit about the town meeting warrant and town meeting itself. I think this is going to be your very first one since you were elected. Is that right?
That is correct.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And this is, very exciting for all of us to see you step up to this gigantic job.
Oh, thank you again.
What are your, how are you feeling?
I'm very excited. So far, the preparation has been enormously interesting, and I'm a little nervous, of course, but I think that makes me even a bit sharper.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really looking forward to running a good meeting, and I hope I can do that.
Well, we're hoping for the best too. I think I have total faith in you. I will not be surprised if everything goes very smoothly.
Thank you.
Let's give the details of town meeting.
Sure. Well, so town meeting this year is special town meeting is October 17th. That's Saturday, a week from this Saturday, and it'll begin at 9 a.m. We'll be holding town meeting on the Westford Academy football field. The town staff has done a fantastic job creating a plan that's going to allow over 400 people to attend and be safe and socially distant. The chairs will all be set up a sufficient distance apart with some of them together for couples or groups who live together. Everybody needs to come with a mask and keep their mask on unless they're at the microphone speaking. We don't know what the weather is going to be. It's New England and it's fall, but we're hoping for a beautiful fall day. I think it's advisable probably to dress in layers so that if it's cool in the morning and warm in the afternoon, you can continue to be comfortable. We won't be serving lunch. We'll have a break for lunch that will be long enough for people to go home and get a bite and freshen up. We will have tents on the side of the field for shade and for first aid if people need it. And there will be handouts for people to pick up on the way in with information about various things that we're going to discuss. There'll be several microphones, and anyone who wishes to address the meeting, who is a town voter, a registered voter, can approach any microphone to address the meeting. And we're hoping to do things efficiently and fairly and get it done in a reasonable amount of time.
Before the snow comes.
Well, before the snow comes.
Kidding, everybody, just kidding. But we have had snow in October. There's something I want to move on to, but we'll get there. In the event that you have to call bad weather, in all seriousness,
yes,
what happens then?
Yeah. So early on the morning of the meeting, a decision will be made if the weather is bad as to whether we have to call the entire meeting that day or not. If that happens, townspeople will be notified by way of a reverse 911 call, and we'll be making that decision probably no later than 7:30 in the morning, so people will definitely know. If the meeting is called before it starts, the rescheduled date is the next day, October 18th, again at 9 a.m. If we start the meeting and either have to stop it because the weather changes and becomes inclement, or if we get to the end of the day and haven't finished our business, then it will be up to town meeting to set a rescheduled date, which we hope will be the next day, since we're already set up for the meeting, and it would be difficult to find another day. So that would be the date that I would suggest to the meeting to vote on.
Are they really going to put out 400 chairs? or do they, the bleachers, do the bleachers count as?
The bleachers will be for overflow if we have more than 400 people.
I don't think I have ever been to a special or annual town meeting with 400 people attending.
Oh, I think there have been. I
There,
can check on that with Patty Doobie, but I'm pretty sure there have been.
yeah, I guess they bunch up in the back of the auditorium.
Yeah.
The gym. All right, well, so here's the question I'm dying to ask you, because I spent all day on this yesterday and I still got it wrong. Articles 5 and 6. Only you seem to know.
Oh, no, that's not true at all. Yeah, so it is a little bit confusing, and it's probably good to go over those. So Article 5 is a Community Preservation Act article requesting that $1,344,152 be expended from community preservation funds for the purpose of constructing a new amenities building at the Westford Academy field. That article is recommended by the Selectmen and the Finance Committee and the Community Preservation Committee and the School Committee. If that article doesn't pass, then within Article 6, which is the article about capital appropriations, there's a sub-article that requests that the same amount of money be allocated, be raised and appropriated by way of bonding and debt exclusion to cover the building of the amenities building at Westford Academy.
And where is that content?
So that's on page 6 of the special town meeting motions booklet, which looks like this, and you can
Right.
find it on the town website.
I was going to hold it up too because I didn't have it yesterday.
So the CPA article is on page 4, and it's Article 5, and the article requesting that the money for the amenities building be bonded by way of a debt exclusion is on page 6. It is the 4th sub-motion of Article 6.
Right. So just to clarify, because I got mixed up about this, none of these articles have anything to do with the feasibility study for an executive office space for the school administration.
Not the two we just discussed. That is actually another sub-motion in Article 6. But it doesn't have to do with either Article 5 or the 4th sub-motion in Article 6.
And just to make it clear, community preservation funds are recommended every year by the committee, the Community Preservation Committee.
Right.
So this is a very standard procedure. They have a certain amount of money based on a property tax surcharge that was passed in the town. In the early 2000s, I don't know if it was the year 2000 or the year 2002, but somewhere along that lines. And at that time, the state matched 100%. Whatever the town put in, the state matched it. So Westford, being one of the first communities in the state to adopt this law, really made out well financially. And
I actually think it may have been earlier than that. I think it was in the 90s sometime.
yeah, you were here. I wasn't here until 2000.
Okay.
So, all right. Well, so we clarified that, I hope, a little bit better. And just to emphasize, the Articles 5 and 6 are related to the amenities building only.
Article 5 and the 4th sub-motion in Article 6. So Article 6 actually has 4 sub-motions to it. So the one we're talking about is the 4th of those sub-motions.
Perfect. Okay. Moving on. It seems to me that there are a few hot topics on the warrant. And I was wondering if you could sort of give us any background knowledge about what's going on, what the objections might be, and I want to start with that amenities building at WA, at Westford Academy. What's wrong with the one that's there now? And why do we need a new one?
Well, I think I'm going to yield in terms of speaking about that to the people who are going to make the presentation at town meeting.
Okay.
There will be people from the Community Preservation Committee, people from the schools, and financial folks, to explain all of the pros and cons, and so that people can make their decision. And I'm going to allow them to do that at town meeting rather than trying to state what the reasoning for it is.
Yeah, good answer. This is hard because we both have to be very objective and neutral. So I'll just keep asking questions. You can keep telling me you can't answer them, but I think it'll work out okay. There is an article 11, I believe it is, where I think it's Dr. Hiermouth, who is the citizen who filed a petition to change the name Columbus for the holiday this year on October 12th to Indigenous Peoples Day.
Well, that's a little bit not quite correct.
No?
So this is a citizen's petition. It is Article 11. You can find it on page 8 of the motions booklet. Dr. Hiermouth is the one of the petitioners, and the petition is to recognize Indigenous Peoples Day on the same day as Columbus Day, and not to change the name of Columbus Day. And he gives his reasons in the petition, which is published in its entirety in the motions booklet. And again, he'll be making a presentation at town meeting. But again, just to clarify, it's not a request to change the name of Columbus Day. It's a request to also celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day on the same day.
Right, sorry I did misspeak. That is on page 8.
Correct.
Of the motions, okay. There's also a clean energy petition.
Yeah.
And I don't have all the language in front of me.
That's Article 14. And that's on page 9 of the motions booklet. That is also a citizen's petition.
Right.
It's a resolution which requests that the select board charge a task force with making recommendations for specific strategies to achieve the state's limit of net zero greenhouse gases by 2050.
Right. So given that there's still questions in some people's minds about what is happening to the climate, I could see some discussion on the floor of town meeting for this issue.
You never know which articles are going to generate discussion and which are not. So I think I'm anticipating discussion on every issue just in case.
Well, I hope you're preparing late at night. Is it all Robert's rules, by the way? Is that what?
So our town meeting is governed by Town Meeting Time, which is a book that encompasses some of Robert's rules, and various many towns' town meetings are governed by Town Meeting Time. And I've read through it twice, and I've had various discussions about it with former town moderator. And so I won't say I've got it committed to memory, but but I've read it a couple of times.
But you'll also have town council sitting next to you on that day.
Thankfully, there'll be various people who can help me through, because I'm sure I won't know how to handle everything. Patty Doobie, our town clerk, will be right there by my side to help me. And John Giorgio, town council, will also be close by, so that if there are any questions that I don't know the answer to, and I'm sure there will be, I'll be able to stop and just take a moment to get the appropriate person to answer the question so that I can provide that answer to town meeting.
Very good. So we're in good hands. There is a article on drive-up windows, and I don't know what that means because I didn't read the article.
So that is a planning board article. It's a zoning bylaw change to allow drive-through windows for restaurants in Westford, which is not allowed now. That's an article that will require a 2/3 vote of the meeting because it's a zoning bylaw change. There'll be a presentation on that and discussion as warranted, as requested.
That'll be interesting, given that the town never allowed that before.
It's a change to the existing bylaw, yes.
Interesting. I did notice that there are several planning board articles. And what is that all about?
Yeah, there are actually, let's see, I think there are 6 planning board articles. And they are on pages 10 and 11 of your motions booklet. I'm sorry, there are 8. There are actually 8. And most of them are technical changes to our existing bylaws to clarify certain things that have come up. The planning board, primarily through Jeff Morissette, will be explaining each one and will of course be available to answer any questions that might come up relative to those articles.
Okay. Last but not least, 63 Main Street. That is Article 24, and 63 Main Street is the house on Main where the attic burned, correct? It's
Correct.
a historic, beautiful, beautiful historic home with land. And let's see, what does this article say?
So this is a citizen's petition, and Ellen Hardy will be making the presentation on this. It's requesting that the town sell the property at 63 Main Street to be used as a private residence again with a preservation restriction on it, and cut off some of the property at the back to use for additional parking in the center of town.
Yeah. So we'll see how that plays out. That could be controversial, or it might go smoothly. We'll see.
We'll see.
Can you tell us a little bit about your background? I know from having written a lot about you a few years ago, you were the chair of the school committee.
Yes, I was the chair of the school committee for a couple of years. I was on the school committee for 6 years. And prior to that, I was on the 1991 Master Plan Committee and the Master Plan Implementation Committee. And I've lived in town since 1989 and raised my kids here, who are all successfully launched.
How many?
3.
Congratulations, by the way.
And I've always been interested in volunteering for the community. I've always felt like it was both an interesting and important thing to do. I've done lots of different things, and I've found them all to be fascinating and rewarding. And I think this is going to be the same, maybe the best by far.
Yes, it's a little different from your role as school committee chair. but I just wanted to note that you were the chair during a very difficult period regarding finances. The town just didn't have a whole lot of money at that time. There was a lot of belt tightening, and you had to hold the force with, I don't know, is that a saying? Hold the force? Anyway, you had to hold your ground with a lot of teachers who were very unhappy at, with their with what was being offered in a contract that year.
In fairness to all those who serve on the school committee, it's a tough job. It's hard to please everybody, and you have so many constituents. It really, everyone who does it deserves to be commended for electing to take a position that really requires so much. And that's true of many positions in town. I don't mean to single out school committee. It just happens to be the other one that I'm particularly familiar with.
When that year finished, I was still writing for a newspaper at that time. The stack of clips I had, because I was packaging it all, must have been, half an inch thick. Newspaper is thin, but I wrote about that. I was even surprised to see how many articles I had written about it at that time. Yeah, it was tough.
It's actually, though, a credit to the community that we pay so much attention to what's going on in the schools and in other areas of town, that it becomes such an important story that people are so interested in, and that people want to participate in and learn about. That's really what makes Westford a special place, is the fact that people are so involved and interested in everything that goes on.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I say this all the time because I came from a city, not a city, it was a very nice suburban town off of New York City. We were 30 minutes by train in New York, but then it was an idyllic suburban setting. So I'm not really a city girl, but I always joke about that. And what I find is that people in Westford dress like farmers. We all sort of wear jeans and very casual, and everyone has a PhD. I haven't run into anyone who is not educated on some level in this town. They're very, very much, we value education very, very much here.
Yes, we do. We do. Yeah.
So speaking of education, can you tell me a little bit about your background, your educational background?
Sure. I actually grew up in New York City and came up to Boston to go to school, and went to BU undergrad and New England School of Law. And I did leave for about 6 years and practice in South Carolina, and then came back. And I've been practicing in this area ever since, specifically in Westford, since 1994. And I've always had my own office here, and it's been a great experience. I've always loved working with the people that I see in the grocery store and the library, and that's another part of what made me want to volunteer for the town, because it's just all of a piece. It works together. So.
And how old are your children, and what are they doing? Because they're all alumni, right?
Yes, they're all three alumni of Westford Academy. My daughter, who is 29, actually lives in Westford, and she works with developmentally disabled adults at Minuteman ARC. My middle son, who is 25, lives in Florida and works in finance, but he's coming back.
Hey, that's what you live for.
He's promised me he's coming back next year, so that's a good thing. And he wants to come back. He very much wants to come back. And my youngest is in his 5th year at Northeastern in the mechanical engineering program, in their co-op program, and he's doing great. And they're 3 very different kids, and they were all very well served by the school system here.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
So we're just about to wrap up here, but I want to give you a chance to address any other issues that you may have wanted to present and I might have missed. Anything on your mind?
Yeah, what keeps coming back to me, what I really want people to know is that town meeting is our legislative body here in Westford. It's the body that creates our laws. It decides how we're going to spend our money. It decides what our rules and regulations are going to be relative to zoning and things like that. And it's where citizens can come and bring forward their ideas for how to make the community better. So attending town meeting is so important. Participating by voting or speaking to the issues is probably the easiest and most important way you can affect government and how government serves you. I'm hoping to keep the meetings interesting and effective and efficient, and that many people will come and want to keep coming back to participate in how we're running our community.
Very nice. Well said. Well, thank you, Angela.
Thank you for having me.
So glad that we could have you and do this. This was really fun.
Yes, for me too.
So I'll look forward to seeing you, if not sooner, on October 17th at the Trustees Field, beginning at 9 a.m. on a Saturday.
That's correct.
Yeah. And I'll be there reporting and you'll be there moderating.
And everybody pray for a beautiful day.
We will. For WestfordCAT News, this is Joyce Polino Crane. Have a great day.